The sun was merciless that afternoon, pouring fire over the crowded roadside market, while people hurried past without seeing the suffering standing right in front of them. At the edge of the broken sidewalk, beside a rusted cart shaded by a torn blue umbrella, a young woman named Millionaire squeezed oranges with trembling hands, forcing a tired smile for strangers, even though her own stomach had been empty since morning. Her dress was faded from too many washes, her sandals were cracked, and sweat clung to her face as if even the day itself wanted to test how much pain one heart could carry. She had spent months standing there under the harsh daylight, selling small plastic cups of orange juice just to keep her sick mother alive and her little brother in school. But on that afternoon, one small act of kindness would pull her life out of darkness in a way no one could have imagined. Before we go further, if you believe kindness can change a person's destiny and that second chances still exist in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Dramex Story so more emotional stories can reach hearts that need them most. Millionaire had never planned to become a street vendor. Just 1 year earlier, she had been a college student with quiet dreams and a notebook full of goals. She wanted to become a teacher, rent a proper home for her family, and someday buy her mother the medicine she always had to skip because it was too expensive. But life had turned brutally fast. Her father, who had driven a small delivery van, died after a late-night accident on the highway, and with him vanished the only steady income the family had ever known. The landlord began knocking harder each month. The grocery shop stopped giving food on credit, and hospital bills stacked up in a drawer like silent threats. Millionaire dropped out of college without telling her friends the truth. Every morning before sunrise, she went to the wholesale fruit market, bargained for the cheapest oranges she could find, and pushed her old cart to the busiest road she knew. Some days she sold enough to bring home bread, rice, and medicine. Other days she returned with aching feet, swollen hands, and only a few coins that could not even buy dinner. Yet she never let her little brother Hamza see her cry. She would wash her face, smile at him, and tell him tomorrow would be better, even when she had no reason to believe it. The city around her was not cruel in loud ways. It was cruel in quiet ones. Men in expensive cars rolled up their windows when beggar children came near. Office workers bought coffee worth more than what Millionaire earned in half a day, yet haggled with her over a single cup of juice. Some people looked at her with pity, others with suspicion, and many with nothing at all. To them, she was just another poor girl at the roadside, another face blurred into the background of a busy day. But behind her tired eyes lived someone fighting a private war every hour. Her mother's coughing had worsened in the last month. The doctor had warned that without proper treatment, the illness could spread deeper into her lungs. Millionaire knew what that warning really meant. It meant time was running out, and love alone could not save a life. That afternoon, business was painfully slow. The heat had thickened the air, and even the market noises seemed distant and dull. Millionaire counted her earnings twice and felt her chest sink. It was not enough for medicine, not enough for rent, not even enough for fruit for the next morning. She stared at the oranges left in her basket and wondered how much longer she could keep pretending to be strong. Then a long black car stopped near the curb. It looked strange in that dusty street, polished and silent like something from another world. A middle-aged man stepped out, dressed in a clean charcoal suit, his watch catching the sunlight. He looked wealthy, reserved, and completely out of place among the rickshaws, fruit stalls, and broken pavement. People around the road noticed him instantly. Some whispered, others stared. But the man seemed too distracted to notice anyone. His face carried the kind of heaviness money could not hide. He walked a few steps, then stopped as if the heat or exhaustion had caught him off guard. Millionaire saw the way his hand pressed briefly against the side of the car, and something in her heart moved before her mind could think. She poured a fresh cup of orange juice, added a few ice chips from her cooler, and stepped closer with hesitant respect. She did not do it because he looked rich. She did it because he looked like a human being carrying invisible pain. She offered him the cup with both hands and told him gently that he looked overheated and should drink before the sun made him faint. For a moment, he simply stared at her, almost confused, as if kindness from a stranger was a language he no longer understood. Then he accepted the cup. His name was Rahil Sarmad, one of the city's most powerful businessmen, though Meher did not know that then. He drank slowly, and as he did, something in his expression softened. It was not just the taste of the juice. It was the shock of being cared for without motive. For years, people had approached him with polished smiles, business deals, favors, and hidden intentions. But this poor girl, sweating under a torn umbrella, had offered him something for no reason at all. When he asked how much he owed, Meher quietly shook her head and said some people need water, some need shade, and some just need one kind gesture before the day breaks them. The words stayed in the air between them, simple and honest, and they hit a place in Rahil's heart that had long gone numb. Rahil had once had a daughter nearly Meher's age. Her name had been Elena, and she had died 3 years earlier after a sudden illness that even foreign hospitals could not reverse. Since then, his life had become colder, his mansion emptier, and his success strangely meaningless. He still attended meetings, signed contracts, and expanded his empire, but inside he carried an old grief that never loosened its grip. Looking at Meher's exhausted face and quiet dignity, he was painfully reminded of the daughter he could not save. Yet this was not pity he felt, it was something deeper. It was shame that in a city where he owned towers, factories, and luxury properties, a girl like her had to fight alone just to buy medicine for her mother. Instead of leaving, Rahil stayed. He watched how she served customers with patience even when they were rude. He noticed how she wiped each cup carefully, how she counted coins with nervous precision, and how often her eyes drifted toward the road as if she were calculating every passing minute against some emergency waiting at home. When he gently asked about her life, the truth came out slowly, not as complaint but as simple facts too heavy for one person to carry. By the time she finished, the orange juice in his hand was warm, and his silence had changed into resolve. What he did next felt unthinkable to everyone watching. He asked his driver to leave the car and called his office. Then, standing right there beside Meher's cart in the burning daylight, he canceled his entire afternoon of meetings, brought a chair from a nearby stall, rolled up his sleeves, and began helping her sell orange juice. The street froze in disbelief. A millionaire businessman, known for boardrooms and headlines, was handing cups to pedestrians and calling out for fresh juice under a torn umbrella. People gathered instantly, first out of curiosity, then out of emotion. Videos were recorded, photos spread online, but Rahil did not care. For the first time in years, he was doing something that felt real. Customers who had ignored Meher all day now lined up at her cart, but the true miracle was not the money pouring in. It was the dignity returning to her face. By evening, they had sold out everything. Rahil then took Meher and her family to a private hospital, paid for her mother's treatment in full, cleared their rent debt, and arranged for Hamza's school fees to be covered for the rest of the year. But he still was not done. Within a week, he gave Meher something greater than charity. He helped her open a small, fresh juice shop in a busy commercial area and registered it in her own name. He made sure she received business training, hired 2 assistants, and even arranged evening classes so she could continue her education. He told his team that helping someone survive for one day was easy, but helping them stand with dignity for life was the real test of humanity. Meher's shop slowly became known not just for its fresh drinks, but for the story behind it. Customers came because they had heard of the millionaire who stopped to help a street vendor, but they returned because Meher served everyone with warmth that could not be bought. Her mother's health improved. Hamza returned to school with hope in his eyes. And Meher, who once feared every sunset, began waking each day with something stronger than relief. She woke with purpose. Months later, when a local reporter asked her what changed her life, she did not say money. She did not say luck. She said it was the moment someone powerful looked at a poor person and finally chose to see a human soul instead of a burden. She said one cup of orange juice had carried more than flavor that day. It had carried compassion, grief, memory, and a bridge between two broken hearts from two completely different worlds. And maybe that is how miracles really happen. Not with noise, but with one quiet decision to be kind when no one is forcing you to be.